crafty friends, it's Sharon Luska here, hopping again with the Squirrel Girls and our monthly collaboration hop. It is foil, shine, and thankful for fall. And I just finished doing a video on my last hop with a technique on how to make your own colored embossing powders. And if I can get this silly lid off here, man, that's a struggle. I got myself out some glitter because I wanted to do some specially shimmery, glittery leaves here. And I'm going to take some alcohol inks. Yes, my friends, you heard it. Get out your alcohol inks. And you can use any color embossing powder that you have. I'm using clear today, and I'm adding a good dose of glitter in with that. And today I'm specifically going to be adding a bright yellow, clear, glittery embossing powder to my collection, and a bright red, clear, glittery embossing powder to my collection. So the whole key to this is get yourself a decent amount of color squirt into your embossing powder and give it a good mix. Make sure it's all thoroughly saturated and mixed around well there. You can mix the colors. I've used white embossing powder, gold embossing powder. You could even retint an ugly green that you may have in your collection. I have also used my alcohol pearl inks to tint clear embossing powder and got an absolutely lovely and neat technique by doing that. So I'm going to dump these out onto their own individual pieces of paper, and you want to make sure that the alcohol has time to evaporate completely out of those piles. And I'm going to take a few die cuts here from a Tim Holtz leaf set that I had, and I'm going to rub them all through my decently clean embossing Versamark here. Now this is one that I've done in my last video. Will hook you up with the link for that on the end of this video. This is LATTE clear embossing powder and glitter, and I thought that it would give a cool looking brown leaf. And then this is Sublime, the pearl embossing, or the pearl alcohol ink mixed with clear embossing powder, and it has no glitter, and that is from a past video, the last video that I did. And I'm just going to give these a little heat up from the back here. Now that is an old cutting plate that I had from my machine, and it seemed like it was a good heat shield for doing all of this embossing over top of my mat here. So it's getting nice and hot though. It's burning my fingers a little bit. So anyways, that guy's done there. And then this is our little two-tone leaf here, and I thought maybe you might like to see that get all heated up. Now I did use different colors of paper because these are going to be semi-transparent without me having used any kind of colored or anything like a white embossing powder or a metallic embossing powder as the base. So these are meant to have the color of the paper somewhat show through, and I thought between brown, light yellow, and a little bit darker yellow that would give some cool effects. And so I'm using that Sublime alcohol ink mixed with clear embossing powder here, and I'm going to keep them in my little cups here. I do have some little pots that I set aside from the dollar store to be able to store these powders in when I'm done. And I like to try and heat them from the back because, of course, I did try and work out all of the lumps, which I'm going to show you how to work those out on those embossing powders once they're dry. And I'm going to chase this stupid leaf all over the place here. So there you go. I just got smart and got myself some tweezers. So anyways, that's got a nice shine to it. You can see a little bit of the hue of the yellow through there, and that was my intention all the way along. So this, and of course I got it off the screen here, which doesn't help anybody, but so you're seeing a little bit of my piled up mess of mats here. And so you're just going to take like a little cup, something porcelain, or if you have a mortar and pestle or something, I don't know what that thing's called. But anyways, you want to give them a good mash up with the back of a spoon and something hard, and just crunch up all of those little crusty bits. Anything that's not fine and smooth, you want to make sure it gets a good smush. You may have a few little bits and bobs here and there that don't get entirely smushed, but don't worry about them. They'll blow off of your project once you're done. So now the one leaf is done in brown here, and the other leaf is on the darker yellow, and I just threw a slight layer over top of the darker yellow sheet of paper, and this is the delicious sparkly look I was going for. I'm gonna get this little guy grabbed here by the corner. We'll heat it up. So now you can go ahead and put a tiny bit on if you want to make some pretty dramatic looking leaves, or you can cover the entire surface. This is the yellow over the yellow, and so these are all the leaves here. Now I've gone ahead and grabbed a tree dye here, and I thought that that made some pretty nice branchy effects, and I did that out of some copper foil paper. And I also have a thanks here that I went ahead and stacked up a few layers, and I also have that over a foil sheet as well. So got a good wad of glue going on here, and in my last video I also showed how I did this background with the pink and Maine herringbone, oh, what is that thing called? Herringbone stencil, there you go. Pink and Maine herringbone stencil, and that is that LATTE alcohol ink mixed with clear embossing powder, as well as just that white fine glitter. And I put some embossing ink on the back of that and went ahead and heat set it and made it look the way it is. So I'm just throwing a bit. I've shaped up these leaves because of course with the embossing powder it's made them thick and shiny. So this is something that's going to give you some fabulous dimension here. The first leaf that I did actually has a little tiny bit of brushed on, what do we call that? Inked. Oh, I can't even think of what it's called. My brain is so fried. I took a makeup brush and I swirled on some candy apple distress ink on that first leaf. I also took and did a little bit of that red ink on this one as well, so that the ink would be extra red and extra dramatic. But the leaves that are two-tone, I have either added a tiny bit of a brush job of distress ink in either green or red, and that's how I was able to get those multi-tones on those leaves. So that is just LATTE over yellow. You can see how bright and nice that ended up being, and that is the Sublime Pearl over top of just the light yellow paper. You could literally use up any of the papers that you're like not really thrilled with. So anyways, I got a few notes on the bottom here just to help out a tiny bit with these different leaves and what exactly I had done to get the look of the leaves that I have here. So the whole idea though is with a clear yellow and a clear red glittered embossing powder, you're really going to get some depth in your leaves, and that was what I really wanted. Of course, here's a picture of my outside. Don't you love how those leaves glow? And I really think that I captured that with this project here. So now I put on a couple streaks of my ATG, and I've got a little bit of burlap here, and I'm going to layer this piece up here with some foiled paper just to add some extra drama and shine to my project, and get that stuck down. Of course, I'm looking at that thinking, boy, oh boy, that's a waste of foil paper, but I'm going to mat it up on my white card here, because I'm going to take my white die cut that's all stacked up here, and I'm going to do something tricky with this foil sheets, I don't know what they are, but foil flakes, if you've got foil flakes in your stash, this is a neat trick to do. So I'm going to get a bunch of layers of clear embossing powder over top of this thing so that it's got a nice thick coat of that melted plastic. And I'm going to get it set up really good. So you don't have to be super careful because you're just going to be melting this all uniformly. So I heated it up. Now the last thing you're going to do once it's set is you're going to get a nice even coat of your Versamark over top of this, and you're going to get out your gold leaf, silver leaf, copper leaf, whatever you want, and you're going to take little bits of it and you're just going to stick it into that embossing ink, and it's going to be sticky enough that it's going to hold it in place. If you've got a few little bits that hang off, don't worry, it's going to be absolutely fine. Now I've sped this up because I was pokey slow adding all those little bits. If you have some that are already broken up rather than in sheets like mine, you will have a much faster time doing this. You can shake a few out and then just dust them on with a brush if that's easier. You don't have to hand stick them on like I did. And what you're going to do is you're going to reheat that thick layer of embossing powder, and it is going to grab those foil flakes and embed them right into that sentiment. And the nice thing is that because we're not putting anything over top of the foil flakes, that they're just sitting over the melted embossing powder, you are going to have the full effect of that shine. It will be something very cool and different, and your crafty friends that make cards too are going to look at it and go, ooh, what's that? How did you do that? So I hope you enjoy this technique as much as I did. I think that it's a very cool, very different. It's almost like I've got Dalmatian spots in gold on this Sphinx that I have here. And I'm going to be sending this card to Kathy Aranzana. We had the hop just recently to celebrate her hitting 1,000 subscribers with Marla Harris from Mad About Cards and Crafts. And I didn't have time to get a card made for Kathy. I did Marla's card, and this is Kathy's card. So I'm going to be sending this along to her. I hope she loves it. So I'm going to get this layered up here and glued down. Now I am using art glitter glue to glue that down to this foil paper element. Hopefully it's going to stick. If anybody thinks it's not going to, please let me know in the comments because I would be curious to know. And I'm going to get that stuck down directly to that brown paper bag paper. And that is going to finish up this card. Oh yeah, I added a few of my little gold baubles here with my homemade stick, homemade pick stick, homemade jewel stick. I'm not sure what you call it. It's basically one of those plastic Q-tips shoved inside a Bic pen and has some wax in the bottom. So there you go, there's a good view, and I'm gonna try and let you guys see all that shimmer and shine there. What do you think? Do you think that turned out good? I am so allergic to leaves, but boy oh boy, if I could have these all over my yard, I would love it. I don't know about you, we have 4 acres of leafy craziness, and I have 2 long-haired Shih Tzus, and those little guys are yanking in every leaf that we have in the yard. So I had already gone ahead and glued these leaves down, as you saw in my last assembly kind of section here, and I took a Sharpie poster paint pen in gold and flicked on a bunch of specks. Now I did dry emboss the herringbone stencil by Pink and Main, and this is a hello that is triple layered. It is just some of the backer paper that's on our paper pads. I cut 2 of those and then 1 in foil, layered them together for the hello, and then I had in my stash a bunch of these metal gold foil little hearts that I decided would look cute going up a little spray beside those leaves. I think I'm going to be sending this to my friend down south, whom I miss very much in Myrtle Beach, where there is no leaves in the yard. So she's from up north. I'm thinking she might be missing them. Anyways, thanks so much for joining me today. Don't forget to hop along. Have a great day. If you haven't subscribed, I sure would like it if you would. Thumbs up, comment, have a great day. Awesome. Thanks. Bye. Here's a few more videos you might be interested in with my craziness in the craft room, including the Grateful 401k that will give you another look at this embossing powder concoction. Thanks.